Hello everyone and welcome to a brand new episode of the Sports Insight with your host Alamdar Khan. And yes, as you all know, the show is all about sports and not only sports but sports all across the globe. Yes, we have some more information and news coming up your way, but before that I just want you to get in touch with us on our social media handle, which is at the rate of Indus News Sports. That way we could definitely connect and talk more about what's really happening in the world of sports. But anyways, we'll go to the headlines first. All right, talking about 9 drop catches. That actually brings New Zealand to the lead of 354 runs on the end of day 3. The second test session of Sri Lanka versus South Africa is also underway, where South Africa has actually scored 302 in their first innings. And yes, Spurs' Derek White suffers from a toe fracture. We'll be looking into that. And yes, Brooklyn Nets' Kevin Durant is facing a 7-day quarantine. We'll surely talk about that as well. All right, so finally we are, back again discussing what's really happening today. So talking about the entire perspective for now, we have with us Shahryar, and we'll definitely be talking with him about cricket. Shahryar, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
A lot happening, specifically when it comes to Pakistan versus New Zealand, and I can see the smile on your face, and we absolutely know what's happening. So let's start the journey. 9 drop catches.
Yes, what can I say? It's sheer disappointment and sheer humiliation we face.
Yeah.
9 drop catches, we've been outplayed in all the departments of cricket. What about batting, bowling, and the fielding as well?
Right.
Well, at this level, you expect at least to field, but if you're not taking the catches, what can you do? You cannot win matches like this. Catches win matches.
Absolutely, but I just literally, when I looked back the previous test that we were hoping that our team will probably put in more effort to produce some good, solid teamwork and maybe learn from even in the second innings of the first test, if you remember. At least they went a bit more on the offensive side, maybe just trying to show how it may help them. But 9 dropped. Even back then, there were so many fielding issues, which obviously brought us to where we are today. But 9 drop catches is literally a humiliation factor.
Yes, exactly. When you're not helping the bowlers, what can the bowlers do? It is very tough in these conditions when you're not getting bowled or LBWs, so you have to take the catches at least.
Right.
So you're not taking the catches, especially I believe we're not having the best bowling side right now.
Right.
Maybe we're getting the bowlers on basis of T20 cricket. In Test cricket, we need to have specialist bowlers of Test. We can have, they have a bowler, Jamieson, who is 6'9", I guess. We have Irfan in Pakistan. Maybe we should have taken him in the side. Maybe we can have Tabish Khan, who's been ignored for so long now.
Yes, with the experience, it's absolutely, even yesterday when I was discussing with the expert on the show, this is exactly what he said, that when it comes to test matches, it's all focused more on the expertise. You need to be a serious expert in the field, because there's a big difference between how a T20 is being played or an ODI is being played. Now, when it comes to tests, you need more mature players. Like, let's talk about Shan Masood, for instance, right? And we were actually discussing it before the show, which obviously it's hurtful for the team as well, and specifically for people like us who are really watching it.
Yes, Pakistani fans really need nerves of steel to watch the match, I guess. You cannot watch the match easily.
True.
Talking about Shan Masood, I think scoring a pair and dropping 3 catches, what can be worse than that?
Absolutely.
If you're scoring a pair and dropping these catches and you're still in the team, so we have to look where the problem lies.
Right.
So we've to see, especially in the fielding, what are our fielding coaches doing? What are the normal coaches doing?
Right.
There are a lot of problems in the field.
But and then coming up to a point of declaring the innings, because I think they probably thought that they've scored enough already. So how do you see, and where do you see us? Because we also did start to bat, but yet again 8 for 1 for now at least. So where do you see Pakistan going in this current situation?
I don't think we can avoid this innings defeat.
Right.
Innings defeat is on the cards. and only a miracle can save Pakistan. Maybe some rain. We can pray for the rain, as it's happening in Islamabad. Maybe Allah sends the rain to New Zealand as well. Nothing can save us right now. I don't think so.
So okay, let's go to the lessons learned from the first Test match. So initially it was shown, and people were talking about that. It is kind of bringing the team closer as a team, because the trickle down effect started at the very start for Pakistan. We eventually started losing wickets, and then instantaneously the confidence of Awad Alam kind of saved us, and along with Rizwan's resistance, obviously came up to the point of maybe. But the point is, after going through the whole process of the first Test, and then the innings, coming to a point of where they are right now, where exactly do you think, is it totally based on the fielding perspective, or the coaching perspective, or the selection perspective? How do you see it?
I think there's something very wrong in the coaching staff, maybe in the selection. If you're taking 35 players with you and you cannot field your best 11 players, and you're getting an innings defeat in New Zealand, there's something wrong with our coaches maybe. Why can't we have such pitches in Pakistan where we can prepare these players who to tour New Zealand or South Africa? Why can't we have such pitches in Pakistan to prepare our young talent to play in such conditions, in such pitches? So it's sad to see how we're playing right now. I really cannot watch Pakistan the way they are playing.
Yeah, and to be very honest, if we go back even when the series started, for instance, we look back into the T20 side. Initially, we have those benefit of doubts with regards to fitness, or with regards to the quarantine factor, with the COVID factor, and not practicing. But I think coming up to a point, after losing 2 T20s, we still managed to at least win one, right? So we still had hope. But where is the hope right now? I mean, to be very honest, let's talk about even the bowling side. For instance, let's talk about Mohammad Abbas. Mohammad Abbas, our expectation was probably, at the end of it all, it's more or less about the bowlers' side, so that the quicker they manage to take wickets. Simple. So Mohammad Abbas has being medium paced, not using the pace as he should, specifically with the newer ball to begin with, right?
Yes, you're very right. But I would like to mention here Naseem Shah. When you're taking him on the tour, he had a very bad tour in England as well. Now he's shortened his run-up. He's bowling in mid 130 to 140s.
Yeah.
And when you're not taking advantage of his pace, why include him? Why not Suhail Khan, somebody like Suhail Khan?
Right.
Maybe Hassan Ali is very fit right now. He's taking wickets in Quaid-e-Azam Trophy.
Yeah,
so why not rush him back in the team? He's a genuine wicket taker. So we need wicket takers and bowlers who can contain the score as well. Now Naseem Shah is going at 4.5 runs per over. Zafar Gohar, the new inclusion, has gone at 4 runs per over, giving 159 runs in 35 overs, I guess. So this is the part where we lag. In test matches, one side has to maintain the pressure, then we can get wickets at the other side. When you're leaking runs, you cannot take wickets.
Right. And obviously, as we mentioned about the bowlers, like you said that, if we'd added Suhail Khan or maybe Tabish, for instance, because the experience is something that actually brings the team together, and Test cricket is specifically, if I'm not wrong, more about the experience.
Of course. Well, I believe so. It is all about experience. When you're especially visiting a tough place like New Zealand and your batting is not helping you, everybody comes under pressure. Right. Even the bowling comes under pressure when they're seeing the bowlers, the batsmen not playing. Right. So senior players can really help out. Suhail Khan played very well in England. Last series, he didn't play in England as well.
Right.
He was dropped, and now in New Zealand we see he's not playing again. We have Mohammad Irfan back in Pakistan. He can be a lethal bowler with 7'1" height. He's the tallest cricketer alive. Even he's the tallest cricketer ever to play.
Wow.
So we can take advantage of such bowlers. Maybe the temperament of Naseem Shah. Even I would doubt Shaheen Shah Afridi, his temperament, I'm not sure.
But this time, we still, if we look at it, I get the idea. A lot of people have that critique with regards to Shaheen Afridi's bowling, that he's more of a T20 or maybe an ODI bowler. But I still think at least he did manage to hold on to the wickets and stuff.
No, he's a better bowler than all others we see. Maybe with the catches, if they would have been taken, maybe things were different.
Right.
But now being under pressure and the new bowlers we have, it is very tough to get New Zealand under pressure and take the wickets. So
New Zealand definitely, New Zealand, of course, they do have the edge of being in their home field. And since 2017, New Zealand has not lost a single test on their home ground, if I'm not
yes,
wrong.
they've been exceptional. Nothing taking back from the New Zealand side. Williamson, we see he scored a double century against West Indies
Right.
recently. Now he's averaging, I think, 169 against Pakistan
Wow.
in this series.
Wow.
So the consistency he has. Nichols was under pressure. I saw his catches were dropped against West Indies as well,
Right.
and he scored runs. And now again, he has got, I think, 3 lives, and he has scored 160 once again.
Awesome.
And
But that's how it is. But anyways, what we'll do is we'll look into the other side of the story after the break. So I will see you guys after the break. All right, welcome back to the Sports Insight. Yes, we were talking about Pakistan versus New Zealand. And yes, with me is Shahryar. Once again, Shahryar, welcome back. So Shahryar, we were talking more about how and where and why the situation is for Pakistan cricket team to where they are right now. Let's talk about pitches to begin with. How can we coach our team in such a manner in Pakistan so that they can be more solid with regards to their performance and the confidence while being there in South Africa, or even not only South Africa? If we really talk about it, it's more or less like Australia is one pitch, or even New Zealand itself. South Africa works that way too, I think so. So we don't have these pitches. How can we do something for the betterment of the team that they become this solid that they can face bowlers like them?
well, we have to ask this question with the management. What are they doing? The
Right.
basic levels. If we can't have wickets like this, if we can not practice the short balls,
Right.
the main problem with our players is they're afraid of the short balls.
Right.
So we have to get them used to the short balls, and they should be playing on front foot or back foot. The coaches need to tell the players
Right.
how to play these things,
Right.
and they should introduce these things in very basic structure we have. Even I think the fielding problems we're having same Shadab, a good fielder from the same Pakistani grounds, but
Yes,
we don't.
yeah, that's the thing. We need to have that practice. Do we need to even have a very strong? Because yesterday I was speaking to one of the experts, and he exactly said that, Alamdar, we seriously need to have a very solid fielding coach, because that will, the more we practice, the more we get used to the idea of fielding well.
Yes, of course, we need to have a very solid fielding coach, and we used to have one previously. Now I'm not sure why they've dropped this idea.
Yeah.
There should be a fielding coach with the team consistently, because we know we are not good in the field. If we see the Big Bash League in Australia, they're playing, it's a domestic tournament, local tournament, but we see 100 times better fielding in that tournament as well than what we Pakistanis can do.
Talking about batting, let's talk about the amazing performance by Kane Williamson. What a phenomenal batsman. I think he's come up to a point, making a double century, and the confidence level coming to a point of him or even Henry Nicholls. All of them, even Daryl Mitchell at the end scored a century.
Playing the third match and scoring a century, almost run a ball. So
Wow.
what can we expect from Pakistani bowling
Wow.
line as well?
Wow.
But Williamson, the best player we
Class.
have right now, I guess. He's he climbed to the #1 ranking as well.
Yes.
And he's a best player right now in the world. Fabulous
Specifically
for-
with regards to Test, I've heard he's like the #1 batsman out
Yes,
there for now.
he's come up to the first rank,
Wow,
and
wow.
he's one of the best. Lovely to see on the eyes as well.
Yeah.
And the way he scores the runs, we don't think he must be scoring right now, but he's going at a good strike rate as well.
Absolutely. Not only him, I mean, Henry Nicholls, like the partnership, the way the team stands in front, even though having an edge of being on their home soil, even then, like you can't just rely one situation to only their climate conditions. Maybe it would have been different for them if they were here, but we need to establish a pure consistency of discipline with our team players or with our boys, because that's something that's lacking these days.
With test matches, I see the game can change in any session.
Right.
Now, there was a time when we were building pressure. Henry Nicholls got an edge and Rizwan took the catch, and that was a no ball.
Yeah.
Now, when they could have been 73 for 4, that no ball created panic for us, and now they scored 359 runs with Williamson and Nicholls. So we
Yes.
lost the game in those sessions, I think. When pressure was on, we should have taken a wicket, but it was their luck, I guess, and maybe we couldn't exert more pressure, and they escaped and they scored heavy runs for us.
And I think seeing their scorecard definitely brings the team to a situation of thinking that, even like I said, as we started batting, We just lost our main. Obviously, Shan came and we lost him. But the point is, if we talk about, for instance, let's talk about tests because there's another test that's happening. We were discussing as well, Sri Lanka versus South Africa, right? So like when we talk about them, 302, and was how South Africa managed to stay that way, and right now South Africa only needs 43 runs to win.
Yes, South Africa played very well in the beginning, but they lost in first innings. I'm talking about. Yes. They lost their last 9 wickets for 50 some runs, I guess. So Elgar scored a century.
Yeah,
did very well.
Yes.
But others didn't do that well as expected from the South African team. But again, when the Sri Lankans batted, they couldn't bat well as well. Now the South Africans required only 50 runs. But Karuratne played very well. Captain's innings, he got 100. But I don't think he can save his team.
in the current situation, definitely. Because if I see the poll right now, so it actually says that there's a 0.0.
Maybe we're also happy. Both teams losing. Pakistan also lost the first match. Sri Lanka also. Now they're also losing the second match. And
but like I said, it is about consistency. It is about the discipline. But the only thing that I look how I see their stats in comparison to our stats is like, at least you can see a struggle and a fight.
Of course.
And we just can't come up to a point of playing as if we're playing in for the first time, and this is like the first time the team is like.
Exactly, especially in the second test, Sri Lanka, I think their 4 or 5 players were injured last test match.
Right.
So there is their depleted side, and still they're fighting well against South Africa in their home ground.
Right. But anyways, it's still, yet again, the way I see their figures is still like, at least you can see the struggle going. On the contrary, for us, like I said, there are like so many things that one focuses on. For instance, like you said, selecting the best 11, right? It's easier said than done, to be very honest. How do you see, like you said that Shaheen Shah you would have never preferred him over? Yeah.
I wouldn't have preferred him. Maybe he should be playing in the playing 11, but I feel that proper test bowlers, they're not. They cannot be taken from the T20s.
Right.
They should be taken from the 4-day format, and then they should be brought up to play the test matches. Right. T20 cricket is very different from the 4-day format or even this test match.
Right.
So in test matches, you have to set up a batsman to take his wicket. In T20s, you have to play more dot balls and get a wicket.
Right.
So it is quite different strategies in both.
And
games.
it's sometimes it's mostly defensive, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, exactly.
But like I said, usually it's the combination of team that really works. And we've always had the edge. That's the thing. Pakistan has always had the edge, and we still do. But what happens is like the bowling edge. We always have that, and everybody, and it's like world-class level. But what happens when we're on their field, on their ground, and it comes to a point of our bowlers losing their entire energy and not getting a wicket? That's like the major thing, because initially if they had a chance to take out Kane Williamson, let's begin with that. Then that creates that trickle-down effect for but the initial overs that they start playing on, and they're not as consistent, and they become easily predictable after 6 overs. So
Exactly, but I feel we don't have the best of the bowling attacks right now. We can see Australians bowling attack; they're the best, I guess, than Indians, than South Africans.
Right.
Even Sri Lanka is having a few bowlers right now. Fernando took 5 wickets in the last match, so we need to see which bowlers we can bring in for the next match, maybe, and see how they perform. Because I don't think with Naseem Shah, consisting with Naseem Shah and also Zafar Gore, we're going anywhere in the next match as well. So we need to have a little bit of changes. Maybe 1 or 2 changes can do us a favor, and they can go our way. And if we talk about the batting as well, you're not touching upon Shan Masood. Maybe he's having 4 ducks in 8 innings. Last 8 innings, he's having 4 ducks. So it is a bit worrisome. But what can we say? Maybe
who could have? How do you see a replacement for Shan Masood? For instance, let's look at the top order, because we majorly have the issues with the top order.
Yes,
right?
Exactly. That's the major issue. We don't have anyone who can open, like Imam is unfit, I guess. I'm not sure if he's fit right now. But even he, when he played in South Africa last time, he struggled there. And when somebody asked him, you struggled, he said that you can see all the praise in the previous decades as well. Everybody was struggling as openers.
Right.
So at least we should have a positive attitude the first thing is positive attitude.
True.
You should try, you should exert yourself, you should just try to stay on the wicket,
Right.
and then the runs come yourself. And maybe playing some positive strokes can give you positive results.
Right. But you know, at the end of it all, it comes down to teamwork.
Exactly.
At the end of it all, if you have a backing, if you have the support, if you have the the captaincy that actually wants to drive you there. Obviously, we still miss Babar Azam.
We do miss Babar Azam, but about captaincy, I don't know what Rizwan can do more.
I know.
He's played very well. Rizwan and Fahim Ashraf both have played very well. They've been main contributors in the scoring list as well.
Right.
And we hope they can continue the same form. It is very positive. We saw Azhar Ali scoring 93 in the first innings. Let's see how he does in the second innings. But the question marks remain on Haris Sohail, Shan Masood and Abid Ali.
Right. So basically, the whole idea is from the selection point of view to the entire coaching, fielding, pitches, that all accumulates to the situation of the team, of the lack of the courage and confidence of the team right now.
Yes, of course. When you're taking your best 35 and you cannot bat your best 11 in that, so there is some problem in the coaching, I guess. We cannot have much better openers, I guess. Who can you bring in? We don't have much options in the domestic circuit as well.
But don't you think, for instance, if we bring inexperienced people, maybe that gives them the opportunity of maybe establishing,
well,
time?
We saw it in the T20s. Abdullah Shafiq, he came. What much was expected out of him, but the way he was dismissed in both the innings, it was not good.
Right.
Not a good sight. So
Right.
when young players come in, if they're not scoring runs, the cricket is all about confidence.
Yeah.
When you lose confidence, you cannot go anywhere in your career in the next 50 matches as well.
Yep. Thank you, Sharyar, for your input with regards to cricket.
So
I have a bit more news to share with the world out there. Yes, let's go towards basketball. Yes, as discussed and as mentioned earlier, Derek White actually suffers from this toe fracture. Yes, the toe fracture actually happened and it actually started back in August 2020. So that toe fracture actually brought him to a position that, currently it is on a very serious scale. Yes, it's so serious that he's told not to play for some time. Remember, this guy is worth $73 million. Yes, he was actually bought in for $73 million, and besides his worth, he signed this contract for 4 years. So it's kind of tricky for the team right now because the Spurs are definitely upset with regards to not having the key person on board. And now there is an option like Devin Vesso who'd probably be replacing, but he's a rookie. So it's like a confusion state for them right now. But we hope and we pray that he manages to fix himself and the toe up, because we need his 100% recovery to ensure that the Spurs are on spot on. Well, yes, this was the news about the Spurs. Now switching over to Kevin Durant. Yes, he actually is facing a 7-day quarantine because he's all set to miss 4 games. And remember, he does not have the virus right now, but he was initially told that he was in contact with someone who did have COVID positive. So just to be on the safer side, they've decided to keep him under quarantine. And he'll definitely be missing his upcoming match against the Denver Nuggets, which was scheduled for January 12th. But anyways, this was a quick review of all the sports from all across the globe. I hope you guys had fun. Do reach out to us. Till then, take very good care of yourself. Bye-bye.